Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kia ora, Boltfam. It's the director. Chargers fans, I have an announcement to make, and it's not one that comes easy. I've given this a lot of thought, taken a lot of time to think about this, but we're changing teams, okay? I've been a Chargers content creator for a long time. I've met a lot of people. I'm truly grateful to have found this audience that loves and shares this passion for Chargers football the same way I do. But I got talking to a lot of content creators on YouTube and found a space and honestly a fan base that I felt kind of need my services right now. And I kind of want to do this again. I want to find community. I want to find a community that needs a pick-me-up, needs a little bit of optimism, maybe a little bit of production value on top of it. So I've decided that from today going forward, we're going to be lending my services to the Chicago Bears fan base. And again, it's nothing that, against the Chargers fan base. You guys have been awesome, but you guys got Justin Herbert now. You guys got an awesome defense. You guys got an offense that should be built behind Kellen Moore. I feel like behind Justin Fields in the era that the Bears football team is in right now, my services would be better lent with that fan base. And who knows, maybe we come back to the Chargers, who knows, but I wanted to give this a shot. So to everybody here on the channel, man, thank you so much for everything you've done for me as a Chargers fan. And to the Bears fans, I'm super excited to get started with you guys. This new channel called The Director, Chicago Bears Football. It should be a good time. So with that, let's get into our first official video on The Director, Chicago Football. Lights, camera.
The Bears.
The premiere of The Director, Chicago Bears Football. What do you guys think of the new set, man? We put a lot of work into this. Chicago Bears all the way, excited. Bears fans excited to be here. I want to start off our first video kind of as a new Bears fan, going over the roster a little bit, right? What's a new Bears fan's perspective of the Chicago Bears roster, and where can we go from there, all right? And I think it would be a very good first introduction of me, myself, a new host in a new space, as well as maybe any other new Bears fans coming into the fold as the Justin Fields era begins to unfold here in Chicago. So let's start off. I wanted to actually go through the entire depth chart here and kind of give my thoughts as a new Bears fan on what the team should be doing, especially as we're getting closer to the draft. Of course, a lot of people got opinions on the Bears. They got themselves some pieces. Maybe they've been in rebuild mode for a long time. Is it now the time for the Bears to awaken themselves to contender status now that they've got a quarterback after the longest time of looking for one since oh man, what was his name? Jay Cutler. We're still getting used to the whole Bears thing, man. We're getting caught up on our Bears history here. So let's start off here with the quarterback position featuring Justin Fields, PJ Walker, and Nathan Peterman. I mean, Chargers fans, we are definitely not unfamiliar with the name Nathan Peterman. Well, let's start off with the starter here in Justin Fields, all right? Justin Fields, quarterback, QB1 for the Chicago Bears. I feel like Justin Fields, to me, is a living embodiment of that joke we all had for Lamar Jackson several years ago, right? He's just a running back playing the quarterback position. And a lot of Bears fans will probably take offense to that, But let me tell you right now, it's not meant with ill intent, right? Why is that not something that we can work with? Justin Fields, I got to tell you guys, if you're one of those dudes that picked this guy up in fantasy halfway through the season, you're grinning ear to ear. All those running stats just added up like little paychecks to the bank, adding up to enough savings to buy that dream house. I think Chicago has finally got their dream house in Justin Fields. And it's an intelligent team that understands how to utilize the talent of a running back at quarterback that will succeed at the next level, because you can build an offense around this. You take what worked with Cam Newton, what worked with Michael Vick, what's worked with even Andrew Luck, and you sew it into a Justin Fields, and what do you got? You got not only QB1, but RB1 at the same time. And if you're a fantasy football manager, which I'm sure the Bears GM is at this point as well, you want this guy on your fantasy football team. All right. Now, an offense that revolves around a running quarterback, especially one as dominant as Justin Fields has proven he can be last season, is one that I think needs a little bit more in terms of weapons, in terms of pieces. So let's go ahead and move on to our next segment here, the running backs. Okay. So when you got a running back, a quarterback, what do you need at running back? I think you need a quarterback, right? I think we go out there in the draft. We find ourselves like a 4th-round stud, right? Quarterback out of BYU. That guy's got some wheels on him. If you need him to run the ball a couple of times, that's great. But that dude can throw. He's got, a lot of creative awareness when it comes to finding guys open downfield. If we can find ourselves a quarterback that doesn't mind transitioning to the position of running back, I don't think teams are going to see where we're coming from next season, man. They're not going to see that coming. It's an offense unlike any the NFL has seen so far. And I think that's one well worth investing in. Now, we got D'Onta Foreman on the roster right now. Of course, you want a 2-quarterback or a 2 running back punch at this point, right? You need a guy that can run with Justin Fields, maybe on those options, right? That does carry those unique, and I would say not even elite, but passable running back traits. And D'Onta Foreman is definitely not one of those guys you want to throw under the rug either. This guy was awesome with the Carolina Panthers last year, had some sleeper status with the Texans the year before that. This guy's actually pretty legit, and I think the Texans, or I should say the Chicago Bears, have themselves a pretty nice running back to run besides their quarterback in Justin Fields. Because you guys got to remember, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, even though we are. The Chicago Bears are going to be a running team this upcoming season. And in order to make sure they have success in that department, they got to have guys not just at the quarterback position that can run, but also at the running back position that can run. And they'll have more than that, too. If you guys take a look at their depth chart, Khalil Herbert, Travis Homer, with the once a Seattle Seahawk that was so good behind their starter, right? And then you have no idea what they're going to do in the draft. Maybe they do go out there. Some people have been saying Bijan Robinson to the Chicago Bears. How crazy would that be? But you can't forget the talent of Khalil Herbert behind D'Onta Foreman. That's why I decided I think the Bears were going to be the team for me when I decided I need to switch teams. I need a Herbert, right? I don't feel at home if we don't have a Herbert, especially a Herbert with this much upside. Khalil Herbert's the real deal. You bundle him up with D'Onta Foreman, Khalil Herbert, and Justin Fields, you guys got some running production ahead of you in your stars, I should say, in terms of offense. So I like what we're seeing there, but I'm thinking in the draft, maybe even talk to PJ Walker, right? PJ Walker's got a little bit in terms of his rushing capability. Let's talk about him maybe transitioning to the running back position just a little bit so we have a bit of options for the running back to go LaDainian Tomlinson on the defense. All of a sudden, the running back lining up in Wildcat, he's lining up to throw. Who's wide open other than, a D'Onta Foreman, a Justin Fields down there at running back? I like that. I like that quite a bit, man. So let's move on to the next segment here at wide receiver. This is where I think the Chicago Bears have really turned a corner these last couple of seasons. You got yourselves a Chase Claypool, right? And some people are saying, this trade may have been a bust. We didn't see a lot of production out of Chase Claypool since he was, late traded to the Bears from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I beg to differ, man. I think we saw some good stuff out of him. And even so, I think that the Chicago Bears know what they're trying to build in Chicago with wide receivers that carry the physical traits in blocking. Guys, take a look at a Chase Claypool, 6'3". He's got like that DK Metcalf kind of mentality, but a very decent blocker at the wide receiver position. They also went out there and they traded for DJ Moore, right? Maybe not as physically as imposing, but I also have another proposition for you, Bears fans. What if the Chicago Bears, if we're rewriting the script, right? What if the Chicago Bears not only running back at quarterback or quarterback at running back, vice versa? What if we decided to go out there in the draft and with pick number 9 in the NFL draft, the Chicago Bears select Darnell Washington, tight end. Coming into this draft is the best blocking tight end in this draft, 6'7". He's actually got some mitts on him. I got another proposition for you. What if we lined up Darnell Washington opposite of Chase Claypool? All of a sudden, you're not just looking at good blocking from Chase Claypool on one side. You got Darnell Washington playing freaking wide receiver, 6'7". And there's no chance any DB's going to get past that dude. What does that do? That opens up lanes for your running back, a.k.a. quarterback, in Justin Fields to get even more space, get to the outside. Because we all know what happens when Justin Fields finds space on the outside. Boom, touchdowns. Touchdowns, touchdowns. So who says that the Chicago Bears can't be the first team in NFL history to go out there and draft 3 tight ends, transition them to wide receiver, and get the best outside blocking in the entirety of the NFL? I say it's absolutely possible. You guys, you got to know what you have at quarterback. You got to know the energy that that quarterback brings and the kind of unique skill set that Justin Fields brings to the NFL. And it does not mean he cannot pass. Of course, Darnell Washington can pass. You guys see his freaking combine performance? Insanity. Insanity. You might as well have Harold Carmichael from back in the day with the Philadelphia Eagles, 6'8", wide receiver. You can have that. You can have that with Darnell Washington. Not too slow either. You guys, so you got yourself a solid receiving option in Darnell Washington. You got solid blocking, right? What DB is going to take him down? Nobody. And Darnell Washington. You line them up on the same side, right? You get the strong side with Chase Claypool, Darnell Washington. There goes Justin Fields again. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's move on to the next position. Now, this is where things, I think, again, could remain rather consistent because Cole Kmet, I would say decent tight end, right? I think you got something there. I think you more specifically got a really nice receiver at tight end. So I'm going to kind of propose the same thing, right? Why not? Why don't we just bump him out? Like, let him play a lot of slot this season. So then all of a sudden you got Chase Claypool, you got Cole Kmet in the slot, and you got Darnell Washington on the outside. Look at that blocking on the outside, man. I don't know. And you can even go even further than that. Go get a Schoonmaker in the draft. Go draft 2 tight ends if you're the Chicago Bears. So you got a guy that's really good in blocking in line, and then you got your 2 tight ends on the outside, one in the slot, and you got Chase Claypool out there. I don't know. I like it quite a bit. I think at worst, though, you got yourself a really nice receiving tight end. I think the upside's been there. It's been very obvious with Cole Kmet since he's entered the organization of the Bears. I don't know. I like it. I think tight end's fine, right? Who do we have playing behind Cole Kmet? We got Robert Tonyan. Yo, ex-Green Bay Packer in the house, right? Why don't you bring that playbook along with you? Let us study, what the Green Bay Packers and the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers have been playing these last couple of seasons. You got Chase Allen. You got Jake Tonyan. Okay, so you're looking pretty good at the tight end position. I'm not too worried about that. But then you guys take a look down here. The offensive line. This is really where I think I'm having my biggest hang up with this team. This is something that I wasn't unfamiliar with as an ex-Chargers fan. All right? This is one of the reasons I chose Chicago. I know exactly how to handle an offensive line situation that seems like it is an absolute garbage fire. And that's what the Chicago Bears have in their hands right now, man. Let's take a look at some of these names at offensive line. You got yourself, of course, Braxton Jones. Cody Whitehair, who I would admit is pretty good. You can kind of build off of that. You got Lucas Patrick. You got Nate Davis. Okay, he's not terrible. Then you got Tevin Jenkins, which, okay, it's all a bunch of it's a line of like, you know what I mean? And when you have a line that's a bunch of it often creates a lot of problems for your quarterback, right? And right now, let's say we've built this team the way that we've talked about in the first couple of players here, right? You get some tight ends at wide receiver. You get, a running back at quarterback. You get a quarterback at running back. I need to be able to run up the middle too if I'm Justin Fields. And with this offensive line, I'm not quite sure if that's going to offer it to me. You need to get some guys with power in there. And that's why I'm going to propose something to Bears fans that maybe isn't the sexiest thing in the world, but at the same time, it's something that the Chargers sure as heck did very well in the time of Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco, and it was rebuilding that offensive line. Trust me, Bears fans, as an ex-Chargers fan, I can tell you the whole era of Phillip Rivers was so hard to stomach, so hard to watch. Phillip Rivers constantly running for his life, no protection, and he wasn't even mobile. Imagine this line, but you guys still had a Kyle Orton out there. There's no way, right? It was absolutely horrible to witness as a Chargers fan. I think now is the time you guys start to invest in that offensive line a little bit. At pick number 9, Braxton Jones, right? I think maybe you get somebody that can play opposite him. There's a couple other Joneses out there that I think could do the trick. Why not go out there and get a center too? John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmitz is still available, I'm sure, at pick number 9. He's got a lot of upside at the center position. I would say build inside out if you can. When it comes to a position as important as center, I think center, when it comes to communication, when it comes to the whole, execution, especially if you're trying to make space for your quarterback up the middle, center might actually be more important than tackle. So who knows? I don't know, man. I don't know. All I'm saying is, don't be surprised if the Chicago Bears go into pick number 9 and say, hey, you know what? We need offensive line because, again, Chicago has 2 second-round picks that you can work with in skill positions. Who's to say you guys don't go out there? Get Darnell Washington. Why not trade your 2 second-round picks, trade up early in the second, maybe late first, and get a Darnell Washington who could slip that far? And if not, there's still plenty of options out there that carry some decent upside in terms of blocking at the tight end position. So I would say use that early capital. Go get yourself some offensive linemen, Bears. It's definitely not a bad idea because the defense, it's okay, right? But I think the most important thing is building around Justin Fields at this point. This is the future of your football team. Rewriting the script. Running back at quarterback. No one's going to see it coming. No, Lamar Jackson tried. He tried. But you know what? The Ravens squeezed it out of him. We need you to be a quarterback. No. Bears, this is our identity. Running back at quarterback. Let's move on. Okay, offensive line definitely needs some work. Let's go ahead and take a look at the defense here. Starting with the defensive line, you got Gibson, right? We got to build this pass rush up a little bit. The days of Khalil Mack racking up sacks is over. The Chicago Bears pass rush, which was once so dominant the past couple of seasons, needs to find a new identity. It doesn't mean we don't have stuff that we can build on, right? We got Travis Gibson, Andrew Billings, which I think he played for the Cincinnati Bengals at one point, right? I think he's got some upside. I think also the Raiders at one point. Justin Jones, is that the same Justin Jones from the same Los Angeles Chargers? I think it is. He's got some upside. DeMarcus Walker, that defensive line is looking pretty good, right? But we need to find a way to get to the quarterback. What are we looking at in terms of linebacker? TJ Edwards, okay, not bad. Jack Sanborn, all right. I think the Chicago Bears, again, if you're not going to go offensive line, which is definitely not a bad idea in the first round, maybe you go after an edge rush. Right? And there's going to be plenty of options there staring you in the face at pick number 9. You know, when I was covering the Chargers, one of the bigger names that you would see was definitely Nolan Smith, right? Who could definitely fall as far as 21 to the Chargers. But I'm thinking that if the Chicago Bears, obviously you're going to have your first couple of guys gone, right? If the Chicago Bears really want to make a difference on this defense, I think you still take Nolan Smith at pick number 9. I know it might be a little bit high to some people, but I say why not? Imagine this line, this defense. With that kind of power, that kind of speed that you're getting out of Nolan Smith, I think you can really build around something like that. Because again, the whole name of the game I think right now, especially if you got 2 second-round picks, you're going to go out there, you're going to build around Justin Fields. But on defense, I think you need that guy to build around. Travis Gibson is definitely not bad. You got guys that are not bad all over this line, right? But I think you need a guy that you can build on. And I think going into the draft and find, especially the draft that's so rich with edge protectors, or I should say edge rushers out there in the draft this draft, definitely go out there and take advantage of that. Even if you're not getting the 1A or the 1B guy this draft, who cares? The 1C guy is going to be better than the 1A guy next season, perhaps. That's how good this draft class is. So Nolan Smith, I don't know. Bears fans, in the comment section below, let me know what you think. Are you wanting to go offensive line to protect and give your space to your running back / quarterback, Justin Fields? Or are you wanting to go out there and build something in terms of a defense, get yourself a pass rusher out there to build for the seasons to come? I don't know. So again, Gibson, not a bad guy. I think you guys have something to kind of build on, but I would definitely build on it, like act on building on it through the draft. Next up, let's talk a little bit about, this acquisition. Tremaine Edmunds, man. I know the Chicago Bears just lost their Smith, right? Roquan Smith to the Baltimore Ravens. And that blows, man. I know everybody wanted Roquan to stay in the building. One of the best, linebackers out there. And I think the Chicago Bears defense really demands production out of the middle linebacker position. And what did the Chicago Bears do instead? Of course, we all wanted to see Roquan stay, but they go out there and arguably get the best middle linebacker in free agency. I think this is a heck of a deal too, man. Tremaine Edmunds, you guys know it's the super fast dude, about 6'4" or something like that. He's got some coverage ability. He's got ability against the run. He's got ability in pass rush. I think, again, when we're talking about building a defense, I think you can actually start with your new acquisition at free agency in Tremaine Edmunds. You can start, middle out, like we're talking about in the offensive line. Let's build around Tremaine Edmunds a little bit. This guy's awesome, and he could be awesome in a system like the Bears. Let's go give him his sidekick, his Robin to his Batman, in Nolan Smith. I'm actually starting to talk myself into that pick quite a bit. I like it. The defense I'm not quite as worried about. I think the offense is starting to find an identity. You really have to hit on the draft hard in order to capitalize on that identity. But the defense, they've already got some nice pieces, right? Especially when you're talking about, let's talk about the secondary a little bit now. At cornerback, okay? This is where I think the Bears have begun their decent transformation, their decent build in terms of who we're going to get in here at DB. So let's go take a look at the corners for the Chicago Bears. You got Jalen Johnson. All right. Kyler Gordon, who certainly looked like a stud last season. I think he's got a good season up ahead of him. You guys got slot corners on here? Left cornerback for you, because you guys don't operate with it. I'm sure you do. You do. So who's operating as your slot corner out here? Jalen Jones, Kendall Vildor. I don't know these people. You know what you do when you don't know these people? You go draft new people. That means you need new people. And I think this draft sneakily has some pretty good cornerbacks. So now the Bears are kind of put in a position here. What if the Bears, and this is kind of crazy because we already have 2 second-round picks. What if the Bears decide to trade down in the 2023 NFL draft to acquire a pick that makes more sense for a guy like, let's say, Nolan Smith, offensive lineman, or heck, even a cornerback at this point? Can you guys imagine a Joey Porter on this squad, a Deonte Banks on this squad opposite of Kyler Gordon? Because if there's one thing the Chargers head coach would always talk about is you can never have too many cornerbacks. This league is so heavy on corners. You need DBs. This is actually one of those spots on defense that if I were to invest outside of edge, I think you go corner. Those 2 guys that could be available later in the draft, that might be worth a trade down scenario. You get that corner, you feel good as far as value. Maybe you get another second-round pick, and you find yourself in a situation where you can get that tight end. You can get that edge. Well, maybe you trade up for a Will McDonald, something. You can get 2 very big, impactful players for your defense. I think that's very transformative. But that defense, those DBs also need a leader. Just like the Chargers have Derwin James, the Bears need something kind of similar in terms of a leader. And I think you can kind of have one right now. You got yourself an Eddie Jackson. Right, Eddie Jackson, hard-hitting safety. He's no Derwin James, but he's pretty good. He's a heck of a football player. And this is kind of, those position groups that you're building around, right? You got your leaders. You got Tremaine Edmonds, I think, is the new leader of those linebackers. You got Eddie Jackson, the leader of those DBs. Maybe we build around this guy too. What does he need? Maybe another safety. Brian Branch to the Chicago Bears. I don't know, man. I think there's some potential there. So anyway, Bears fans in the comment section below, you guys let me know what your thoughts are on the NFL draft, some of the biggest needs that you guys think we need in terms of, let's say, defense versus offense, right? What are you valuing more in terms of the draft? Are you valuing building up an offense revolving around your future quarterback / running back of Justin Fields? Or are you more worried about, let's say, we're still kind of trying to figure out that formula. Let's go invest on the defense, right? Let's go grab ourselves some defensive firepower. A Nolan Smith, a Brian Branch opposite Eddie would be pretty nasty, right? Or even a corner like a Joey Porter. I don't know. The options are there, man. The options are there. Well, Bears fans, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. Chargers fans, obviously...
April Fools!
What did you do to my drink?
I ain't going anywhere. This has all been a ruse. Like, come on. The Bears. I'm just kidding, Bears fans. You got a bright future. No. Chargers fan for life. Happy April Fools to everybody out there, man. Especially Bears fans. Thank you for being good fans. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll catch you guys next time. And as always, da Bears.